Most people assume that if they can just take their mind off of things, they'll feel better. To be fair, that's often exactly what happens. When you distract yourself by staying busy, focusing on your surroundings, or getting absorbed in some activity, the intensity of your anxiety or sadness tends to drop. The thoughts become quieter, and for a while, things feel more manageable. But that raises an important question. If distraction works, why doesn't it seem to solve the problem? By the way, if you want to support my channel, please hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications. So distraction is doing something very specific. It's not resolving your distress, it's just redirecting your attention. When your mind is caught in anxiety or depression, much of your attention is tied up in internally generated content. Worries about the future, memories from the past, ongoing self-evaluations. Distraction shifts attention away from that and towards something external, like a task or your immediate environment. Because attention has limited capacity, this shift matters. So the more your attention is occupied by external input, the less available it is for negative thinking. And as a result, the frequency of distressing thoughts decreases and your emotional state improves. Now, in milder forms of depression, this can be quite effective. People are able to step out of rumination, engage with what's around them, and experience a noticeable lift in their mood. Even simple techniques like focusing on sensory details can interrupt the cycle of internally driven thinking. However, this comes with a limitation. While distraction reduces negative thinking in the short term, it can prevent a process that is necessary for lasting change. So for beliefs to shift, they need to be tested. If someone believes that their anxiety is dangerous or that certain thoughts mean something catastrophic, those beliefs don't change just because they feel better temporarily. They change when the person remains in contact with their experience long enough to discover that the feared outcome does not occur. So distraction interrupts that process. Instead of staying with the thought or sensation, attention is moved away from it. Your discomfort decreases, but the belief itself remains unchallenged. Over time, this can become a subtle form of avoidance. It doesn't look like avoidance in the usual sense because you're still functioning and staying active. But at the level of attention, there's a consistent pattern of moving away from internal experiences rather than allowing them to fully unfold. This is especially important in anxiety, when the central meaning attached to sensations play a central role. So if anxiety is interpreted as harmful, avoiding those sensations prevents you from learning that they're actually tolerable. And the short-term relief reinforces the idea that distraction was necessary, which keeps your underlying fear in place. So at the same time, it would be a mistake to dismiss distraction entirely. In many situations, it's useful. If you're highly distressed, the attention is often locked onto threat-related thoughts or internal sensations, and your ability to shift focus is limited. So in that state, distraction can help you restore a degree of control, right? It allows you to disengage from overwhelming patterns and experience some relief. Now, more importantly, it can help build the basic skill of attentional flexibility. Very important. That's ability to move attention away rather than being pulled into whatever's distressing you. So that skill is important because without flexible attention, other interventions become much harder. So the issue is not distraction itself, but the role it takes on. When it's used temporarily, it can support recovery, but when it becomes the go-to strategy, it can maintain the problem. So this difference becomes clearer when you look at how distraction works across different levels of depression. So in mild cases, you're generally able to redirect your attention and engage with external tasks, right? Here, distraction reduces your negative thinking and improves your mood. But in severe cases, the control of attention is like compromised, and it's easily drawn back to negative thoughts. So the difficulty is not just the distressing thoughts, but your reduced ability to move your attention away from them. There's also an interesting effect when it comes to task demands, right? Increasing the cognitive load of a task, what you're doing, making it more mentally engaging, it can improve your performance if you're depressed. A more demanding task takes up a larger amount of your attention. It leaves less capacity for your intrusive thoughts to interfere. So this helps explain why some activities feel more helpful than others. It's not just about being busy, it's about how much of your attention the activity requires. The more fully engaged your attention, the more it can displace internally generated negativity. A similar issue arises with cognitive strategies like positive self-talk. You would think that replacing negative thoughts with positive ones should improve your mood. In practice, however, this doesn't work. One reason is that negative thoughts tend to be more emotionally salient or powerful, which means they capture your attention more easily. Positive statements, especially if they're not convincing, they don't carry the same weight. So they fail to compete effectively for attention and don't really reduce your negative thinking. So in situations that demand a lot of mental effort, adding additional self-control strategy can be counterproductive. The extra cognitive load can interfere with your performance rather than improve it, right? So cognitive coping strategies might work at first because they function to distract you. They occupy attention, reduce frequency of negative thoughts, and provide some relief. But long-term change requires more than just shifting your attention. It requires, and this is key, that your beliefs and interpretations are actually updated. And that only happens with direct experience. So the goal is not to eliminate distraction, but to understand its place. It can help manage your immediate distress and build your attentional control, but it's not a solution by itself. Okay? Over time, your focus needs to shift from moving attention away from distress to being able to stay in contact with it. That's what allows new learning to happen and creates the conditions for real change. So when you start to see distraction this way, you stop relying on it blindly, and it becomes something you can use purposefully. And that shift from automatic escape to intentional use is where things start changing for the better for you. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do, because in the next video, we're going even deeper into this subject. And turn on your notifications so you don't miss it. Thanks.